Hello everyone, thanks for coming outside with me today. Today I would like to start my introduction to turkey hunting videos, or my turkey hunting 101 videos. There's going to be 5 videos. This one's going to be about weapons, but we'll also talk about calls, decoys, blinds, and camouflage you could be using out in the woods. So, of course, since this is an archery channel, we'll start here with bows and arrows and broadheads you could be using for turkey hunting this spring. So when it comes to using archery equipment, it's no different than your deer hunting equipment. Nothing really changes for me. The only thing I do like to change, the only thing I do like to adjust are my broadheads and my particular bow. This is my backup bow. It's a PSE Bow Madness XS. It has a 29-inch axle-to-axle length, which is perfect because most often when you're turkey hunting, you're in a run-and-gun situation, or you're hunting out of a blind, you have a very limited amount of space. I'm a pretty big guy, I have a pretty big wingspan, so my bow's way out in front of me, it's very close to the window. I like having this short axle-to-axle length. My Hoyt back here is perfectly capable of taking turkeys too, but it's at almost 33 inches of axle-to-axle length, so it's an extra 4 inches that I have to finagle with in the woods. And I want to really avoid that, so I do like shooting a shorter axle-to-axle bow. I like shooting a fixed blade broadhead when it comes to turkeys, and you can take your pick. You can shoot a slick trick, you can shoot a Magnus, you can shoot a Muzzy, you can shoot whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. The reason why I shoot a fixed blade broadhead in comparison to a mechanical expandable broadhead is because when it comes to a turkey, it's a lot harder to pick and choose your spots, meaning that when you're shooting a fixed blade broadhead, you really can put it into an area and really crush through bone, crush through wing, crush through whatever you need to get through. There are certain broadheads out there like the Magnus bullhead, which are meant to deliberately either sever the head or completely break the neck, just like a shotgun would. I highly recommend you check out this video that I'll put a link to in the description, and I'll probably play it right here as well, of shot placement on a turkey. It's a lot different than you might think it actually is, and it's definitely way harder than a deer. I really like shooting a fixed blade broadhead over mechanical broadhead because there are certain times where you're going to hit something that's a little bit less desirable and you're going to want to really punch through it. When it comes to a turkey, the projectile is so light and the object is so light that it doesn't pass through it nearly as easily, and often you get a lot of just partially skewered birds or you get clean misses. So I like to shoot that fixed blade broadhead to really have good penetration, because if I shoot that mechanical, it might not have nearly the same amount of force, it might not drive through and make a clean killing shot. The last thing I'll say about archery hunting turkeys is that you don't need a lot of pounders. I'm shooting 60 pounds back here, that's still overkill. If you're shooting a cut-on contact fixed blade broadhead, you're going to be able to punch through a turkey with a 40, 45, 50 pound bow. You have much shorter shots when it comes to turkey hunting. You're not poking out to 40 yards. You have a very small kill zone on a turkey, even smaller if you go for the head and neck area. And so you can't be really pushing those limits. You don't need a 70-pound bow. Plus, if you miss with a 70-pound bow, there's no telling where your arrow is going to go. So I like shooting as low as a poundage as possible for those turkeys in the spring. Alright, now that we're done talking about the archery equipment for turkeys, let's talk about what most people are using, which are shotguns. Now, you can pick any style of shotgun you like. You can shoot a pump, you can shoot a semi-automatic, a break action single, or a double barrel of some kind. I personally shoot a 12-gauge pump or a 20-gauge pump. This is a 12-gauge. This is a Mossberg 500. The only reason why I shoot a Mossberg 500 is because of the tang safety. I shot right-handed shotguns for years. I'm a left-handed shot, even though I shoot right-handed with my bow. It's a long story. But I shoot it because of the tang safety. It's completely ambidextrous, meaning that I can shoot it as a left-handed shooter, or my wife can shoot it as a right-handed shooter, or any other person in my family. So like I said, I can either shoot a 12-gauge or a 20-gauge. This is also a Mossberg 500. It is in 20-gauge, and so it is actually more of a youth model. The fore end, as you can see, comes pretty far back over the receiver when it's being, the action is being cycled, and that allows a smaller and shorter statured hunter to be able to cycle a little bit more efficiently than if the forearms clear out here. The barrel is also a little bit shorter, it's 22 inches long, and also this one I've installed fiber optic sights on. When it comes to hunting turkeys, it's a little bit easier if you have more of a rifle sight to focus on, I find anyway, than just a standard B that you would see on a shotgun. I shot competitively for years with rifles. I'm very used to a more rifle sight picture, so I find I get better accuracy and more consistency when I have it. This is a Beard Buster sight by Dead Ringer. It is a a fiber optic halo or ghost ring on the back end with the standard bead in the front. One thing I'll say is don't let anybody, and I mean anybody, deter you from shooting a lower gauge shotgun like a 16, like a 20, like a 28, like a 410 for hunting turkeys instead of a 12. It's just like when people tell you need to shoot 60, 70 pounds in order to kill a whitetail. They're full of garbage. You don't need to do that. You're no less of a man, you're no less of a hunter. It'll work just fine, I promise. Now, I personally wouldn't go any lower than 20 because I feel, it's kind of like my 35-pound limit when it comes to a bow. But don't let anybody tell you that a 20 gauge load doesn't kill a turkey. It's not as effective, and you're kind of less manly for using it. Speaking of loads, let's talk about the respective loads that I have here on the table, as well as aftermarket chokes. Now, we'll start with the chokes here. You can use just the factory installed chokes. Most guns, when they're bought, they come with 4 or 5 from the factory. Everything from improved cylinder, modified, to the cylinder bore, to choke, full choke, excuse me. And then you can go all the way up to an aftermarket, even extra full, extra full. This is a True Glow. This is a gobble stopper. It is vented or ported, means it has the holes drilled in. It does stick out past the end of the muzzle. You can buy them. They come in many different constrictions, which means they get tighter and tighter and tighter, even tighter than what the actual gauge of the shotgun is. Some shotguns like using them, some shotguns like using a more open pattern. For example, this 20 gauge here, it likes shooting these 5 and 6 shot Federal and Remington loads with an improved cylinder. It actually, with the more open choke, it actually shoots tighter patterns at 40 yards and farther. I would say that the gold standard of distance is 40 yards and under, just like bow hunting when it comes to whitetails. But that's kind of, it's called a scatter gun for a reason. It's kind of fickle. So I personally like to try to keep my shots 35, maybe even 30 yards and under. Really, again, not much different than I do with a bow for a whitetail. But each shotgun is going to like its chokes, and it's going to like its loads differently. Out of this 12 gauge, I shoot the, of course, the aftermarket here, True Glow Gobble Stopper, and I also shoot the Winchester Longbeard XR number 6 shot, which just patterns like a hornet's nest coming out of this gun at 35, 40, and 45 yards. I haven't been able to use it on a turkey yet, but I'm very excited to see possibly this spring what it could do. It's kind of a bummer for those of us that are in archery that are used to, like, okay, 70-pound draw weight, 30-inch draw. I need a 300 spine arrow. You go buy a 300 spine arrow and you're done. That's not the case with a shotgun. Sometimes you want to have a tighter choke, but it needs to be more open. It's really fickle, it's really annoying, but you need to do it before you take it out into the woods. So that's it for video number 1. If you'd like to look at video number 2, which is going to be all about the clothing for turkey hunting, you can click right here, or you can click in the description if you're a mobile user. I hope you're able to go out and enjoy the sport of turkey hunting, be better prepared possibly from this video, enjoy God's beautiful creation, and we'll get to see you next time.